On screen. A lot of news again. Heather Lamont Walker sent us a fantastic email after yesterday's show. I hope Heather Walker is watching the program. If you don't follow Heather Walker on Facebook, she's got compelling content. She knows the area like the Pope knows holy water, like inside and out. I sincerely mean that, Heather. We're going to talk about an email that she sent to me that included 2 attachments, which Judah's going to show on screen. Task force documents from 2004, 20-year-old documents from the Charlottesville election task force that was put together in 2004 to talk about issues and problems in the city that we call Charlottesville, Virginia. Here were some of the perceived problems in 2004, 20 years ago. City government not responsive to the needs of citizens. Some would say that's still going on. All the city councilors come from one part of the city. Some would say that's still going on. The city government does a poor job communicating with citizens. Some would say that's still going on. Civic participation and voter turnout is declining. Some would say that's worsened. Democrats have the upper hand. That's certainly still going on. There is a lack of socioeconomic diversity among council members. That's certainly still going on. There is an imbalance of power between city council and the city's administration. We'll talk about that, guys, on today's program. We're going to show you documents from the 2004 election task force and compare and contrast them to circumstances, trends that exist today on today's talk show. We're also going to talk about Governor Glenn Youngkin. He signed a bill that permanently allows cocktails to go at local restaurants. Is this a good move for local eateries? Some local eateries, Judah, in opposition of cocktails to go.
Opposition to it, really?
Some in opposition.
Wow.
The argument made that they're spending not in the restaurant, which keeps them from being sticky and purchasing other things while still creating personnel needed to fulfill those cocktail requests.
That's odd.
Basically diminishing average ticket price.
Then why would they continue to sell them?
You're saying just don't sell them?
Yeah.
We'll have that conversation. We'll talk about notable businesses for sale. Doma Korean Kitchen. Did that one surprise you, Judah?
I don't really know enough about it.
Doma in West Main. You've never been there?
I don't think I have.
You would love it. The place is banging. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you're watching. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you're watching. It's the I Love CVille show on a Tuesday. Judah, which headline most intrigues you?
I really like the cocktails to go legislation. I think it's a good move. I'm surprised that obviously, I'm surprised that any businesses would be against it. Like I said, I don't know why they would. If they don't want to use it, don't use it. I'm also, if anybody hasn't heard by now, prayers go out to the people on the
bridge in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible accident.
Terrible accident. All right, we're ready to rock and roll on the Tuesday edition of the I Love CVille show. Judah Wickower, yours truly, Jerry Miller. Give the show a like and a share. Retweet the show. Share the show. Albert Graves, thank you for the retweet, my friend. We appreciate you. Judah Wickower, we are in your hands.
Quiet on the set.
Thank you, Logan Wells Kalelo. We appreciate you. Good Tuesday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille show on a gorgeous and glorious Tuesday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. A lot to cover on today's program. I'm going to show you documentation from 20 years ago, 2004. A Charlottesville election task force was created, and this election task force was assembled to highlight some issues that existed 20 years ago in our fine and fair city. For example, some of the perceived problems directly pulled from the documentation that we'll put on screen. A, the city government is not responsive to the needs of citizens. B, all of the city councilors come from one part of the city. C, city government does a poor job communicating with citizens. D, civic participation and voter turnout is declining. E, Democrats have the upper hand. F, there is a lack of socioeconomic diversity among council members. G, there is an imbalance of power between city council and the city's administration. We're going to show the documentation, and we're going to ask you this question. Do these problems currently exist today? Has anything improved? Has anything changed? The Charlottesville Election Task Force of 2004 suggested a strong mayor, an elected mayor, among a number of other changes. On today's Fine and Fair Talk Show, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk Glenn Youngkin approving cocktails to go. Cocktails to go, you would think an overwhelming support by restaurants local, eateries local, but not so fast, my friends, and we will explain why. Also on the program, we will cover the breaking news that we covered yesterday with violence at Albemarle High School. 2 teachers injured, 1 sucker punched, 1 slapped in the face this past Friday at the largest high school in Central Virginia. The police were called. The teachers are angry, and next steps are being formulated. We'll talk what's next, including what the school board has to do, what Dr. Matthew Haas has to do, and what the Albemarle County Education Association should do on today's Fine and Fair Talk Show. And we'll highlight notable businesses for sale in the Charlottesville area. Doma Korean Kitchen is on the market, and it's a very good value. We'll explain why, and we'll tell you some of the other ones and their asking prices. On the Tuesday edition, it's Tuesday, March 26th, in downtown Charlottesville. This show airs in the shadows of Thomas Jefferson's University, less than 2 miles from the John Paul Jones Arena, less than 2 miles from Scott Stadium and the Rotunda, 50 yards from the Charlottesville Police Department. Chief Kachis, Judah, as we weaved you in a 2-shot, paid us a visit last week. It was nice to see the George Clooney of policing, a man that we have tremendous respect for, come say hello to us in the studio here at I Love Seville. We're working on an interview with Chief Kachis, potentially Tuesday, here in studio, the police chief, to talk about a number of aspects that the Charlottesville Police Department is doing very well. We'll keep you posted on Chief Kachis and whether that interview is lined up for Tuesday. The conversations and phone calls are going back and forth. My friend, you want to start with some prayers for those in Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible what happened. I don't know all the details, but it seems like it was just an accident. And I mean, this is not just going to affect the people who are on the bridge and their families. I mean, this is, I believe the bridge falling down is going to affect shipping. Obviously, it's going to affect travel in and out of Baltimore. And I just my prayers are going out to the people who were on the bridge and the rescue teams who are trying to help them, as well as the people who are on the ship.
Well said, Judah Wickower. The show today presented by Charlottesville Business Brokers. Find them online at charlottesvillebusinessbrokers.com. If you need help buying or selling a business in the Charlottesville, Albemarle, or Central Virginia area, Charlottesville Business Brokers, your choice to make that transaction a viable reality, charlottesvillebusinessbrokers.com. The lead of the program, the email received from the distinguished, from the renowned, the well-known, the well-read, the well-researched, Heather Lamont Walker sends me a fantastic email yesterday that is the lead of today's show. Heather, if you're watching the program, I want to thank you. Heather, if you're watching the program, I very much look forward to your social media content. You often get me thinking. I find the content provocative, thought-provoking, forward-thinking, and a refreshing voice in this homogenous and one-sided political ideology universe that we call Charlottesville. She says, Jerry, the discussion from yesterday was perfect timing to discuss a directly elected mayor in a mixed ward and at-large system on the heels of this property tax hike. She says, Jerry, I would imagine a strong mayor would advise the city staff to budget what they need, not what they want, in appreciation for inflation pain and the recent appraisal increases. She says, Jerry, I also imagine council members from south of the railroad tracks would vote against the tax increases. Then she includes two attachments, Heather Walker does, from the Charlottesville Election Task Force that was assembled in 2004. This task force was put together 20 years ago to look at concerning issues in the Charlottesville, Virginia area. Judah, if we could put document number 1 on screen. This is a 20-year-old document. I would like to put the matrix on screen if you could.
All right, you're going to have to give me a second.
You got to adjust the rotation?
Yeah.
Let me know when that's on screen. The task force essentially had this challenge before itself. These were the perceived problems in 2004, 20 years ago, in the city. Problem number 1, the city government was not responsive to the needs of citizens. Problem number 2, all the city councilors came from one part of the city. Problem number 3, the city government did a poor job communicating with citizens. Problem number 4, civic participation and voter turnout was declining. The matrix is on screen.
Yeah. Possible solutions, that's what you're talking about.
Possible solutions, that's the matrix. Yes, sir. Democrats have the upper hand, another problem. A lack of socioeconomic diversity among council members, another problem. And the final challenge, there is an imbalance of power between city council and the city administration. This is a 20-year-old document. Read the document, check the matrix, keep it on screen. You may need to blow up your screen to read this. Has anything changed? Or can you make the legitimate argument that some of these concerns have worsened or gained more momentum? For example, councilors coming from one part of the city. I still see that issue. In fact, Heather says in her email, 60% live in Burnley Moran, currently, councilors, and 20% in Greenbrier and Venable. Where's the economic diversity for council as highlighted on yesterday's program? A poor job of communicating with citizens. We just talked yesterday about tax relief. We talked about it last week. Mm-hmm. We have a tax relief program in an escalating cost of living environment, in particular tied to home ownership, that is very poorly advertised and marketed. This falls under that category. Democrats having the upper hand. When's the last Republican to be elected to council? Judah Wickhauer.
Oh, man.
Who was it? How about that question?
It was radio personality. Oh, come on. Shoot. I know the name. Rob Schilling.
Rob Schilling. Rob Schilling. Their last Republican to sit on council, Rob Schilling. Since Rob Schilling, how many independents have been elected to council?
I don't believe any have been.
Nakia Walker.
Oh, Nakia, that's true. Nakia Walker. I'm sorry.
Nakia Walker ran as an independent.
Yeah.
Bellamy Brown tried to
But-
run as an independent.
Yeah.
Was not successful, Mr. Brown.
I think
Nakia
we-
Walker was.
I think we know that neither of them was actually an independent, though.
Why do you say that?
I mean, you can run as anything. I think Nakia Walker was clearly Democratic leaning.
Activist, progressive. I wouldn't necessarily say Democratic. In
That's
fact,
fair.
you could make a legitimate argument she didn't get along with the shot callers and the rainmakers and the kingmakers in the Democratic Party. Bellamy Brown, you have a genuine argument as he ran for delegate a couple of years later as a D. So I'll give you that one. Nakia Walker, I won't give you that one. I'll say she marched to the beat of her own drum.
That's fair.
In this Charlottesville election task force, can you put document number 2 on screen? Titled, Take Me to Your Leader. These are 20-year-old documents. Take Me to Your Leader from the 2004 Charlottesville Election Task Force. The proposal, hold an at-large election for mayor. The mayor would have a 4-year term, but her or his official responsibilities would remain the same as in the current system. Sitting members of city council would also be able to run for mayor. Basically a strong mayor system. That document on screen. Give us the thumbs up. Thank you very much. John Blair, welcome to the program. Local newspaper, welcome to the program. Local TV station, welcome to the program. Local radio station, welcome to the program. We'll have some news for you, TV, radio, and print on Albemarle High School and the violence from Friday, news that we covered and broke yesterday at 12:30 that then hit the TV stations for the 11 o'clock news. Strong mayor is something we see in Richmond with Mayor Stoney. The cons of the strong mayor. You want to read those on screen?
The cons you want me to read?
You can go on a 2-shot and rattle off the cons if you'd like. I'll read the pros, and then we'll pick it apart like Thanksgiving turkey. I like the dark meat.
I've started to like the dark meat more as I grow older. as
My
well.
least favorite of the meats, the turkey. Despise the turkey.
What do you? Oh, you don't like? You're saying?
Despise the turkey, my least favorite of all the meats. So many better meats out there. I love the Italian meats. Love the Italian meats. You give me some prosciutto, forget about it. You give me a T-bone, forget about it. You give me some locally grass-fed ground beef, forget about it. Give me some ham biscuits, Kites Country ham, forget about it. Turkey? The cons, my friend.
Critics of a directly elected mayor have been known to argue longer and repeated terms for mayor might lead to cronyism and stagnation. The presence of the position of elected mayor might attract career politicians who might put their own interests ahead of the interests of the city.
Definitely.
Fellow city council members may have personal knowledge of the qualities of prospective candidates for mayor, allowing them to make a decision based on the qualifications rather than political skill of the candidates. A directly elected mayor may have more conflicts and disputes with city council than an appointed mayor, which could lead to gridlock. And in the current political climate, it is likely that only Democrats would be competitive candidates for mayor.
The pros. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And then hold that thought, because you're about to make some Albert Einstein, Aristotle-esque commentary there.
Aristotelian.
Oh, shoot, duh. I got the goosebumps on that one. The pros. Directly electing the mayor mirrors election systems used in a majority of cities around the country with council manager systems of government. Pro number 2, giving the mayor a 4-year term allows for stability of leadership and a pursuit of vision. Service as mayor for more than 2 years could lead to more efficient government. That's institutional memory. Pro number 3, a directly elected mayor could have more of a Mandate to lead and pursue a vision. Pro number 4, a directly elected mayor could be held accountable by the citizens of Charlottesville rather than by city council, and thus may be more responsive to the needs and priorities of citizens. Pro number 5, an elected mayor would not be given the post as a courtesy for past service, as may be the case with the mayor chosen by council. Pro number 6, direct election of the mayor might attract career politicians to the post, which may bring greater experience in public service and policymaking to the position than an appointed mayor. And the final pro, directly electing the mayor may increase voter turnout. Absolutely would increase voter turnout. Your turn to shine. What was that thought you wanted to hold?
I mean, it was just a commentary on the final con, which is it's hardly surprising that in the current political climate, it is likely that only Democrats would be competitive candidates for mayor. I mean, that's just Seville for you. I don't know that that's particularly a con of electing a mayor. It's just a con of Seville.
That was less
Aristotelian than you thought it would be. I never said it was going to be.
That was less philosopher and more Peter Pan over there. Still, I give you some props regardless. John Blair, I'll get to your comments in a matter of moments. These documents, 20 years old, from an election task force that if it was reassembled today would say, good Lord, everything we suggested, all the solutions we had to combat the issues or the perceived problems of 2004 still remain present today, and they did not weave in any of our suggestions.
Copy, paste, job done.
Right. Why do you think, let's unpack it, why do you think the Charlottesville Election Task Force of 2004 was ignored by government and nothing has changed? I got this answer. I can't wait to hear what you got to say on this one, J-Dubs. Judah Wittgauer, jack of all trades, sidekick Bubini.
I mean, if I had to guess, I would say, why would they want to? Once they make it in there, one of the points talked about being given a post as mayor as a courtesy for past service. Maybe that's something that's attractive to council members. I honestly don't know, but where is the political will to make a change like this?
How about this? Why make the political change when you risk losing the political power?
Yeah.
Why would those in political power choose to? Brian Haluska walking by again. I see Haluska at studio time every day.
Every day.
Do you think this is part of his challenge each day to walk by the studio during the show and gets the mention on the I Love Seville program?
Maybe.
He was a talented sports writer at the Daily Progress at one time. Why give up the power? If you're in power, why give up the power? And for these changes to be put in play, it would take current power to potentially divest itself of the power it has.
I mean, I could see a mayor in our current system at the end of his tenure pushing something like this through, and then taking his 2 years of visibility as the mayor to then
springboard, platform,
into the 4-year mayorship.
Trampoline into the 4-year permanent position.
Yeah, not permanent, but
who's the most electable potential mayor in the city of Charlottesville resident right now?
Wow.
Anyone who lives in the city of Charlottesville, the most electable mayor, who is it?
That's a tough one.
Come on. What do you think it is? There's no wrong answer here. The most electable person, if it was a 4-year term, most electable person that lives in the city of Charlottesville.
Wow.
Viewers and listeners, your thoughts. John Blair, I'll get to your comment. I'm very curious of your opinion on this, John Blair. Vanessa Parkhill, very curious of your opinion on here. Anyone who lives in the city of Charlottesville, gotta live in the city of Charlottesville, most electable taxpayer and citizen in the city of Charlottesville for mayor right now.
I don't know who lives in the city. You know who I
There's
would...
no wrong answer.
You know who I would
well,
pick?
actually, there are wrong answers if they don't live in the city of Charlottesville or they're convicted felons.
That's true.
Who would you say?
You need to give me a minute or two.
No. Say it. Spit it out. It's the sake of a talk show. Keep it going.
I'm trying to remember the name.
I'll help you come up with the name. Give me some context clues.
Restaurateur
Restaurateur?
that we're very familiar with.
Annie McClure?
There.
See, I speak
Yeah.
Judah. I speak Judah. He's a city of Charlottesville resident. I won't say where.
I would.
Yeah, I know he lives in the city of Charlottesville. I
He's-
do know where, but I won't say where.
He's clearly a savvy businessman
Yes, he is, Annie McClure.
and an entrepreneur who clearly loves the city. I mean, he's taken over and opened several of his own restaurants and done it all here in the quaint little city of Charlottesville. I could see him putting on an extremely well received run for mayor.
I don't want to speak for Annie McClure, and I don't want to shatter your commentary or dash your dreams. But Annie McClure would never run for mayor for Charlottesville
Oh
City.
yeah, I'm sure
Would
he
never do it. Would never do it.
No, I believe it.
I think he would be a fantastic electable mayor. I think he'd make a fantastic mayor. But the owner of Citizen Burger Bar, the guy who previously owned the Biltmore, just recently sold the Biltmore on Elliewood Avenue, now going to be called Ellie's Country Club. Why you would change the brand and the equity behind the brand of the Biltmore and rebrand it to something altogether is beside me and makes no business sense. Yes, I said that. Alumni are going to return to Charlottesville for alumni weekend, for basketball and football games, for sporting events, to reminisce, to wax nostalgic. They'll head to Elliewood and they'll wonder what happened to the Biltmore, and they won't have the same magnetization or allure to Ellie's Country Club as they would have the Biltmore. But hey,
I agree.
everyone's entitled to make their own decision. He sold the Biltmore to his general manager, and props for that deal. I would say the most electable person right now who's a resident in the city of Charlottesville that could run for mayor and probably win is Chief Mike Conscious.
It's a good one.
Chief Mike Conscious. Someone prove me wrong, who is somebody that Jim Ryan's not going to run for mayor. It would contradict and conflict with president of UVA. He couldn't do it.
It would also be a massive step down.
I'm also very curious if where President Ryan lives on Cars Hill, is that Albemarle County? Does President Ryan, I don't have the answer to this. Much of the University of Virginia is in Albemarle County, even though it seems to be in city limits. Is Jim Ryan currently living at Cars Hill? Is that considered Albemarle County? Any viewer and listener have that answer? Put it to the feed. I'll relay it live on air. Make a convincing argument, and we'll send you some free stickers, and we'll forever ring your name loudly and truly in the hallowed hallways of the I Love Seville Hall of Fame if you give me someone that's more electable for mayor right now than Chief Mike Conscious. Anyone. Dave Matthews doesn't live in the city of Charlottesville. Dwayne The Rock Johnson doesn't live in the city of Charlottesville. Ralph Sampson doesn't live in the city of Charlottesville. Anyone. Seriously. John Blair doesn't live in the city of Charlottesville. Lives in Albemarle County. John Blair could be a guy who doesn't live in the city of Charlottesville. I'd vote for John Blair. Who is more electable?
Yeah.
And if you're the election task force of 2004 and you were frozen in time a la Demolition Man and Sylvester Stallone. Demolition Man, Wesley Snipes, and Sylvester Stallone. Their naked bodies put on ice. Jettisoned 2 decades into the future. Who was on the 2004 Charlottesville election task force? Do we want to see them naked and frozen in time and then defrosted and de-iced in 2024? Charlottesville election task force. Who was on that election task force in 2004, Judah? I might have to ask the distinguished Heather Lamont Walker for the participation on that task force. They would say, Judah, I looked, you can't find it on Google.
You sure?
Yeah. They would say, why have we done nothing to change the issues? One party controls the city. the representation in the city does not reflective of all socioeconomic statuses.
Yeah.
They would say communication is still a problem. We can point to tax relief.
You sure you can't find it?
You can find it?
I think I maybe did.
The 2004 Charlottesville Election Task Force?
The front page says Report of the Charlottesville Elections Study Task Force, December 2004.
Oh, who are the members?
Signed and endorsed by...
Can I slide over to your two-shot? I know John Foltz. I bought commercial real estate. Heather Walk? Okay, Judah. God, did I give you a flying chest bump? Oh, flying chest bump, Judah Wickhauer. Who is on the 2004 Charlottesville Election Task Force? Gosh, I'm so happy you found this list. Would we put the 2004 Charlottesville Election Task Force on ice a la Demolition Man, Sylvester Stallone, and Wesley Snipes and defrost them in 2024? They would say, egats. Nothing has changed. Who's on that task force? What was on your mind right there? You were about to say something funny.
No, it was just a comment about Taco Bell.
A comment on Taco Bell?
I seem to remember that. That's one of the only things I remember from the movie, that and clamshells.
That was less Chris Rock and more
I wasn't trying for anything in
Chris
particular.
Seaman.
Okay.
That was a little shade thrown to Allison Spillman's campaign manager, who was not her campaign manager.
Yeah.
Who was on that task force?
Signed and endorsed by Sean O'Brien, chairman, Leroy Hamlet, Sue Lewis, John Foltz.
John Foltz. I bought commercial real estate from John Foltz. UVA professor.
David, is it Repass? Repass? I don't know.
David.
Cindy Stratton, Tom Van Dever, Heather Walker.
Heather Lamont Walker sent us that email 20 years later. No wonder she had those documents.
Yeah. And Karen Waters.
That's a very impressive task force.
Mm-hmm.
Conservatives on that task force. Centrist on that task force. Center of the aisle thinkers on that task force. John Foltz has run for a number of positions locally. John, spell his last name for me.
P-F-A-L.
T-Z.
Yeah.
He's run for computer science UVA professor, an independent candidate for city treasurer in 2013. And according to Civilpedia, served on the 2004 Charlottesville Election Study Task Force. In fact, Civilpedia has an entry for the Charlottesville Election Study Task Force. This task force was appointed by council in 2004, 2005, and 2006 with the intent to review the structure of Charlottesville's local government and to suggest possible reforms to address public concerns about citizens feeling unrepresented by the current system. What has changed in 20 years? Seriously, put the Matrix back on screen. Read the perceived problems from the Matrix, and then we'll get to the viewer and listener commentary. And it's plentiful. Judah, the perceived problems from the Matrix, my friend, can you put it on screen? Can you read them for the viewers and listeners, your fans from across the Commonwealth?
Hold on, I gotta find it on this document because
Vanessa Parkhill
the one
says...
you sent me is upside down.
Heather sent it to me upside down. Vanessa Parkhill says Carrs
right.
Hill and President Jim Ryan is Albemarle County. Albemarle County. He could not run for City of Charlottesville mayor. Find me someone. Olivia Branch says Eugene Williams. Eugene Williams. But she says, besides Chief Conscious, that's a tough one. Tom Stargell says Kenny Leatherwood. He now lives in the City of Charlottesville. Former principal of Charlottesville High School. Interim principal, current Charlottesville High School. Kenny Leatherwood is a damn good one. Judah, the perceived problems. I dropped the ball. Of the Charlottesville Election Task Force.
Perceived problems. City government is not responsive to the needs of citizens. Perceived problems. All of the city councilors come from one part of the city. Actually, you know what? I'm going to blow this up on the screen so it's just the graph. Just a second.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Oh, crap.
Would you like me to read the perceived problems?
No, I got it. Here we go. I made them a little bigger. Perceived problems. City government does a poor job communicating with citizens. Problem. Civic participation and voter turnout is declining.
It's declining even more. It's declined even more in the last 20 years. It's in
Yeah.
the pits.
Problem. Democrats have the upper hand. I don't think
More so than ever.
I don't think the Democrats would agree that that's a
More
problem.
so than ever.
Problem. There is a lack of socioeconomic diversity among council members.
We were just talking about that. We got a lawyer. We got a middle upper management at UVA. We got a high level official at Albemarle County. We got someone who slings and shells $300,000 one-day weddings. We also have Michael Payne. No shade on Michael Payne. Anything else?
Lastly, there is an imbalance of power between city council and the city's administration.
Comments. I got to go to JB. Then we'll go to Deep Throat. Then we'll go to Vanessa Parkhill. Comments coming in fast and furious. God, I love you guys so much. You make the program better. John Blair has this comment. I will mention this live on air. I'm responding to him. Now I'm going to read it. Jerry, it's important to note that on the November ballot, all candidates for city council do not have an R or D by their names. Parties may nominate candidates for the general elections and local races, but state law prohibits the identification of local office candidates by party on the November general election ballots pursuant to Virginia Code Section 24.4-613. God, I love John. They can run as Republican or Democrat and be nominated by the parties, but the ballot you and I see in the booth in November will not identify city council candidates by party. That's a strong comment. What determines counselors? He says, does Ralph Sampson live in Charlottesville? He does not live in the city, I've been told. And he says he would be a shoo-in, a sports legend and a restaurateur. I've been told he does not live in the city. If Ralph ran against Chief Kachis, Ralph would beat Chief Kachis. Right now, I would say the favorite to win mayor in Charlottesville, city resident, taxpayer, Chief Kachis, hard-pressed to find somebody else. Eugene Williams, Kenny Leatherwood, other suggestions by Tommy Stargill. Tommy Stargill is part of the family. We got to get Tom Stargill's photo on screen. We got to get John Blair's photo on screen. You can find the ranking at iloveseville.com/viewer rankings. iloveseville.com/viewer rankings. Tommy Starge is 51 in the family. Look at that. Very handsome photo of you, Tom Stargill. Are you sure you got the right Tom Stargill there, Judah?
That was
the Golden Apple Award winner? Yes, you do. Tom, I love that profile picture with that vest and the hat. You're looking quite outdoorsy, the Golden Apple Award winner. John Blair's photo on screen, number 2 in the family. Get his pick up, please. We're going fast tempo today, aren't we, J-Dubs? This is normally when you go today. Olivia Branch watching the program. Olivia's a very key member of the family. Always well-dressed, always sharply dressed, always beautiful. 13 in the family, OB. Queen of Keswick, her photo on screen. Number 1 in the family, Deep Throat, watching the program. I had somebody come up to me, I won't say who, Deep Throat, but come up to me at our stomping grounds and say, I think I know who Deep Throat is. And they were able to decipher potentially your identity through your comments on the talk show. It was incredible. Wow. He says this, one interesting difference between making a change to election structure back in 2004 and now is that in 2013, the Supreme Court in Shelby County v. Holder, scraped Voting Rights Act Section 5 pre-clearance requirement. This applied to the entire Commonwealth and its political subdivisions. Any change in 2004 would have required CVille to seek pre-clearance from the DOJ or a federal court. Now Charlottesville is freer to make changes, though obviously ex post citizens could challenge any change. He also says, I think people would happily elect David Toscano if he would serve. David Toscano, friend of the talk show. Put it on a studio camera. Studio camera. Studio camera. Are you talking? You giving the play-by-play?
Jerry is. Hold on. I'll move the camera so they can actually see you.
We gotta get Chief Conscious up here. Who are the other ones we gotta get on screen?
Oh, let's see. We got
Chief Conscious. Who else?
Jim Hingley,
Ralph Sampson. Jim Hingley.
Ralph Sampson,
Two shot us.
Juan Diego Wade,
This man.
Pinkston, and Pruitt.
Is this on screen?
Just a second. That's better.
That man would win mayor if he wanted to.
No doubt.
David Toscano was mayor of Charlottesville. That man would win mayor if he wanted to. This man very well could win mayor if he wanted to run. Dave Norris, he on screen?
Mm-hmm.
Dave Norris could win mayor if he wanted to. Studio camera. Move the camera. Two shot. Lisa Green is a city resident, I believe. Lisa Green would have a very good shot. Planning commissioner. Planning commissioner of winning mayor if she wanted to. Lisa Green. Heather says this, have you noticed that there's 0 counselors that live in the Jackson, Via, and Johnson school districts?
Mm-hmm.
We highlighted yesterday similar concerns. Where's the Fifeville, 10th and Page, and Prospect representation? The Star Hill representation.
Yeah.
Where is it?
I mean, you can't force people to run.
Why don't they vote?
What's that?
Why don't they vote? Why doesn't 10th and Page, Fifeville, Star Hill, Cherry Avenue, and Prospect form a coalition? And coalition, what's the verb of coalition?
The verb collate?
Collate, not constipate. Collate
I
around
guess.
one candidate and push that candidate forward. Why doesn't that happen? Why don't they collate, not constipate, but collate with a coalition or around one candidate and push that candidate forward? Explain that to me. Then they'd have advocacy and representation. Derek Bond all the time on the talk show. Why are there not conservative candidates in the community? Explain this to me. Ready for this?
We can.
No. It only takes 5, 6. Let's look at the last election results. Charlottesville election results. Was it 23? Was 2023 the last one? We're talking 5,000 or 6,000 votes. Give me the election results. Let's say, who was the Brian Pink? No, who was the one? You had Payne Snook, Lloyd Snook. Lloyd Snook election results. Let's see how many votes he got. 2023, I was right. 8,548 votes in the at-large election. 8,548. In the primary, 4,378 for Snook. 8,548 in the general. This is November of 2023. You're telling me in a town of 45, 46, 47,000 people, there's not 8,548 centrists? You're telling me there's not 20% in the city of Charlottesville that identify either as centrists or right of the aisle? Is that what you're telling me?
There may be.
Then why don't they collate, not constipate, around one candidate and springboard platform, trampoline that candidate into office? Talk to me, Judah. Talk to me. Should I say Papa Bear? You don't like the Papa Bear. Explain that to me. No wards, no districts. Anyone who runs can win. Why don't they collate around one?
You're saying there aren't enough regular voters to beat a coalition like that?
Yeah. You're telling me there's not 8,500 centrists or slightly right of the aisle individuals that are seeking change that they can't get one into office?
I mean, I kind of feel like if there were,
Come on.
then
What? It would have already happened?
Then Bellamy Brown would have had a much better turnout.
BB made a mistake. You know what BB's mistake in the 2019 election was?
Go ahead.
You know what it was?
Go ahead.
Getting into the crossfire to Nikiah Walker. Nikiah Walker, he got into that scope, into the lens of Nikiah, and she straight up in social media challenged his blackness. Her words, not mine.
But
Low blow by Nikiah Walker, but that's what she did. She later apologized about that.
But if there was this mass, this not necessarily coalition yet, but enough people to form one, I don't feel like they would be the type of people to care what Nikiah Walker had to say about Bellamy Brown.
Or was the climate different? Because we were very close to August 12, 2017. This was 2019 when he ran.
What does that have to do with Bellamy Brown?
It was 2 years removed from one of the worst days in the history of Charlottesville, where the community was feeling very vulnerable and somewhat guilty. Carly Wagner says Kochis is 10th in Page, right? Yes, Carly Wagner, her photo on screen. Yes, ma'am, he is. Carly Wagner, number 3 in the family. We've had 1, 2, and 3 comments so far today. Vanessa Parkhill, number 6 of the family, her photo on screen. We've had 1, 2, 3, and 6 comment today. Albert Graves shared the show. He's 7. Carol Thorpe,